It's showtime, baby. Let's go. Woo!
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Turnipole, and as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view, right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of some of the best barbecue around. I don't know about you guys, but that just makes me hungry. Go check out Midwest Best Barbecue. They have delicious wings. Like I said, I love the chili. They don't have it all the time. They had it this past Saturday. It is awesome. They have pulled pork sandwiches. It is great. Go check them out. Also, go check out my favorite bar, which is Hail Mary's, right there for my West Side peeps in Cheviot. Go check them out. Also, if you're looking for new windows and doors, please check out Meyer Windows and Doors for your door and window needs. To give free estimates. I have the windows in my house. They are awesome. And you know, as always, I'm coming to you live from this glorious place down here. It's the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know what? We hit the jackpot when we drafted Joe Burrow. If you guys want to be ready for our Super Bowl run this year, because it's happening, go to jackpotjoey9.com. Order your hat, order your hoodie. Remember, portion of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Foundation. That's what this is all about. You want to support Joe and his causes. What is up to everybody in the chat? You guys are blowing it up already. I love it. We got lots of Bengals stuff to talk about. We got Red stuff. The Bearcats freaking pulled one out of their ass. I cannot believe they won that game. I don't. If you guys are watching the game, I'm like, yep, exactly. How about them Bearcats? Exactly, Rob. I was like, dude, honestly, I thought they were going to lose. Honestly, I thought, like, all right, this game's over. We're down by 16 points. Seamus Lukosius went off. Day Thomas had a great game. I mean, who knows? 4 more wins, and we're in the NCAA tournament. I know it's a pipe dream, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit of Reds today. We'll talk some Bengals too as well. But let's get to my guest today. He's all the way from Hawaii. He's from Locked On Reds. He is Steven Offenbaker. Steven, what's going on, brother?
How's it going? How's it?
Man. Good, man. Good. You look nice and tan there in sunny Hawaii.
Oh, it's miserable here. Let me tell you.
It sounds like it. I feel extremely bad for you. I feel very, very bad for you. Also got my co-host, which he was in the background. I'm going to check to see if he's there. But we got Joe Farsing. Let's see if he wants to join the show. Joe, are you there, or are you just...
I'm here. Can you not see me? Can you hear me?
No, we can hear you, but we cannot see you at all.
My camera is on. Why does it tell me that my camera isn't on?
I don't know. Well, how about this? How about you figure that out, and then I'll talk to Steven, and then I'll bring you back on once we can see your beautiful face.
I've been figuring this on for days. Remember our nice 2 minutes of silence yesterday trying to start my show. So
yes, exactly. So you can figure that out, and I'll get you back on when I can see you.
I'll try that.
All right. Steven, what's going on, my man? So
What's happening?
All right, so this is as excited for a Reds season that I've been probably since, excitement-wise, after the 99 season we got Ken Griffey Jr. That's how excited I am. I mean, I know we had the 3-year run with Dusty and the boys, and I don't know, there's something different about this team. And then Novi Marte comes and decides to use a substance he's not allowed to and is suspended for 80 games, which includes the playoffs, which really sucks. So his season's pretty much, we're not going to see him much at all. Where are you at on where the Reds are right now? I mean, opening day starter is not who we thought it would be. We thought it might be Hunter Green. It's Frankie Montas. The last stuff to discuss here. What's your thoughts on where the Reds are at right now?
I'm with you on the excitement level because maybe I'm a little bit older than you. I'm not sure. My excitement level hasn't been this high heading into a season since 1991, coming off of a World Series.
Oh,
year.
I was 15 then. I was 15. Yes.
This is a great time to be a Reds fan. You talk about, having all of the right pieces at the right time in a division that's not necessarily everybody else is not trying as hard as the Reds are right now. Everything is lining up perfectly for this to be a year where they can break through, where they can win a division, where they can get into the postseason. And even Noelvi Marte taking a little bit of the wind out of the sails. Obviously, his selfishness in this situation by using banned substances and this substance, my understanding is it's an injectable. And if it's an injectable, that's not an accident. I haven't researched it out. But my gut says that, this was not a surprise to him. Right. So a little bit selfish, and that derails the plan because the plan was to keep everybody rested, to use that rest to keep everybody healthy and have this team firing on all cylinders all year long with a lot left in the tank to head into the postseason. Now, that dream's not completely derailed. They can still be that team. It's just going to be a little bit different, a little bit more of a challenge, and it's going to create some opportunities for a guy like Jonathan India, who went from being in a position to basically fight for his baseball life and remain relevant on this team to now being a key part because he's going to play a ton of first base. He's going to play a ton of second base. We'll see him at third base a little bit, and we'll see him in left field a little bit. So Jonathan India is going to be that Ben Zobrist type guy that is really going to, we're talking about 200 at-bats for the first 80 games of the season, roughly, that are now going to be redistributed. And I think Jonathan India will get the lion's share of those.
Yeah, which is interesting because, I mean, two moves. One move the Reds made that people were surprised was signing Jeimer Candelario. We all thought it was going to be an outfielder. Like, why the hell we signed another third baseman? And he plays first too. Turned out it's going to be good that Marte's there. And then everybody wanted to trade Jonathan India. Oh, he's not going to be able to get enough at bats. Well, now this all happened with Marte. Like you just said, open up more bats for him. And this is one of the deepest teams that I can remember, and very versatile. There's so many guys that can play so many different positions. I mean, Steer, that dude's unbelievable. First, third, second, outfield. I mean, hell, you might be able to put him back and catcher. Who knows? Maybe he can do that, but that's tongue in cheek. I kind of doubt that. But I mean, that is, I think, it's going to come into play for the playoff run and down the stretch because last year we kind of lost steam. The guys were young and they didn't play as many games, especially the pitch staff, and we have a lot of depth in the pitching staff. So I'm surprised. One move I wanted them to do is get a number one starter. They didn't. They got Frankie Montas, who's going to be our opening day starter. There's a lot of good things that they've done that I think is going to help out with the problems they had last year down the stretch. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. So last year they had an inability to absorb the everyday injuries that come along with playing a 162 game season. It was basically derailing. When a couple guys went down, they had nobody else to step up and fill the void. Whether you're talking about pitchers or position players, you just kind of had what you had. And once they were gone, you were in big trouble. That's not the case this year. We're talking about a starting rotation. You're right. They added Frankie Montas, who's going to be the opening day starter. That did catch me by surprise, but having had some time to reflect on it, I think it's a good move. Takes some of the pressure off of Hunter Green while he's trying to add pitches and learn new pitches and become that ace that everybody wants him to be, which I think he can. This is going to make it a little bit easier on him. But this rotation, the depth of this rotation, we're talking about a rotation that assuming that Nick Lodolo gets back on track by the second time through the rotation. This is a rotation that Williamson, who had a fairly good season in the rotation last year, he's not going to make this rotation. There's no room for a Connor Phillips. There's no room for a Chase Petty to try and break through right now. All of that is depth at this point. And you've got Nick Martinez, who was signed under the idea that he was going to be given an opportunity to start, who is probably going to start the year as your multi-innings guy in the bullpen and an emergency starter should you need him for a doubleheader or a guy suddenly can't go right up before game time. That'll be Nick Martinez's role. So this team has a ton of depth over there. Then they went out and addressed the bullpen that probably performed better than anybody expected
by far. Yes, I thought that was going to be a weak spot for the team last year.
Yeah, it is an upgraded bullpen from what they had last year in bringing in Pagan and bringing in Martinez and bringing in Brett Suter and bringing back Buck Farmer. This bullpen, from early innings, 6th, 7th innings to the back end where you're going to Alexis Diaz to close things out. This is an upgraded bullpen that's going to be hard to touch up. And when you combine those two things, I think the pitching staff's in a great spot. But then you look at Jamer, right? You look at that signing of Candelario. And yeah, we all said the thing they needed to do was go get a right-handed power bat for the outfield. And instead, they signed an infield guy that ultimately has looked very clairvoyant for Nick Krall. Like this move is going to have paid off big time now. Right. And there's that question that's out there, right? Did the Reds know? Did anybody know that Marte was doing what he was doing? I don't think so. I think that Nick Krall decided that this team ran out of gas in 2023, and he needed to take steps to prevent that from happening in 2024. The Jamer Candelario signing was specifically done to make sure that the position players on the infield didn't run out of gas heading into a potential postseason. So I like the signing. And now with the Marte thing, it's just that much better. But I don't think they knew. And I don't think they knew because I don't think had they known, maybe they hang on to Jose Barrero a little bit longer instead of giving up on him, the day before this news broke with Noelvi Marte. Right. So I think that when you look at those two things, it says they did not know. I think this team still has the depth to keep everybody rested, to keep, you're probably looking at your high game totals for games played in 2024. Guys will be around 150, some of them. And that won't all be starts. There's going to be David Bell, the notorious fiddler, the guy that doesn't know what to do with his hands on a daily basis if he's not making a move. Right. Is still going to be able to make plenty of switches. He's still going to be able to do plenty of things.
In this team, almost David Bell proof because he can move guys around. And
it is.
And we're not going to Newman in there. By the way, Joe Farsing, I don't know what's going on, but when I turn your mic on, I got a whole bunch of background noise. So that's why you're muted right now. So sorry. Go ahead, Steven. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Boy, Joe, live streaming is hard, man, when stuff doesn't go right.
Exactly.
No, so it's for me, is the team David Bell proof? Yeah, because he has better options. Some of the things that we saddled with David Bell is he was just handed incredibly bad baseball teams in his early managerial career here. And that's no longer the case. But also what comes with that now is a pressure to win, an expectation to win. For the first time since he's been here, I think he's expected to put a playoff team together and manage a playoff team for 162 games and have them in a position to win this division and make a run. Right. And that's something that he's not faced before. So I'm going to be interested to see if that changes how he does things, because a couple of these teams he's had in his time in Cincinnati, you're kind of in who the hell cares what he does, because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Right. But now every move that he makes does matter. And him keeping guys healthy and in the right position to be successful are going to be big deals where they haven't been in the past. Yeah, exactly.
If we like the Marte thing, it's a big loss, but we have guys to plug and play there and fix that. If we have injuries down the stretch, like you said, giving guys days off, it's a 162 game season. Even you look at the Big Red Machine, I thought I saw a stat where I think maybe 20 times, maybe it was less than that. It wasn't that many times in 75, 76 that Sparky Anderson actually played all 8. So they didn't even play that lineup that much. So that's not, inconceivable or different, than that. So it's interesting what's going on with that. Now I got a question here from Robert. Said, can he appeal the suspension? Can Marte appeal the suspension? Is that an option?
He can appeal. It can go to arbitration. He could have, if it's reduced by more than 20 games, I think that impacts that postseason eligibility part. Okay. But given what we know about the substance, I don't see it. Maybe they'll knock 10 off. But that 20 threshold is important. And I think that they're going to use it to send a message. Major League Baseball created this policy to show the world that they're not screwing around with these important performance enhancing drugs anymore. Right. I can't imagine it'll get reduced to the 20 in order to make him postseason eligible. So then you have to ask yourself the question, do you bring him back up at all this year? And I think a lot of that depends on how the first 80 games look. If they're cooking and in first place when that suspension ends, he may find himself in AAA the rest of the year and be 2025's Rookie of the Year candidate.
Right.
Heading into that season.
Honestly, I'm okay. Like you said, if the team is cooking, I'm okay with that. But there's also part of me kind of like, well, if he could come in and be that extra bat down the stretch that you could pick up, via trade, which this would be via trade. He just come back and play. That can help too. So it is an interesting thing. It's not a bad. Well, it's bad that he's gone for 80 games, but when he comes back, it's not bad that you have that option to put him in AAA or to bring him in. Joe, are you back?
It's clearly not gonna.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's clearly not going to derail the season. And to your point about the grade 8 for the Big Red Machine and the plug and playness of this team, the Big Red Machine in 1975 and 1976, between those 2 full seasons, played a total of 63 games together.
There you go. Yeah.
So, there was a lot of plug and play on that team, and there's going to be a lot of plug and play on this team.
Joe, are you back? Nope, you're muted.
Maybe we could play a game called What is Joe Trying to Tell Us? And he can charade the thing at us, and we'll try and guess. He's saying right now that Locked on Reds is the best daily baseball podcast around. That's what he's saying right now.
Exactly. All right, let's get to Wells here. He's got a question. What does missing 80 games make a guy, why does missing 80 games make a guy make a postseason ineligible? This is less than half the season. I just don't get that rule, which I thought was interesting.
That's a specific penalty for using performance-enhancing drugs. We're going to take away half the season, and we're going to take away your ability to play in the postseason. That's the punishment. It's not that the 80 games is not a magic number as far as playoff eligibility. It's a specific penalty built into the rule. So that's why. So if they reduce it to 60, then they also have the ability to reinstate his postseason eligibility. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, which I didn't even know that was. I mean, as far as I know, I think Marte is the first Reds player that's been, at least on the Major League Ball Club, that's been suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. I didn't know that they had an extra thing for you're out for the postseason. I didn't know that, and maybe when they first announced the 80 games, I didn't hear the part about the postseason until like the next day or the day after that, which I'm kind of like, really? That really hurts. So that's where it goes to what you're saying is they might just keep it in AAA, which, like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing to keep them down there. I mean, especially if they do that, that means the Reds are playing really well, and that's a good thing. So let's see here. All right, so we got the opening day started. We talked about this a little bit. I was surprised. I mean, to me, it's a big honor to get to be the Reds opening day starter because of the tradition in Cincinnati. Nobody does it like the Reds do, like we do here in Cincinnati. But as far as the grand scheme of things, as far as who actually started, as far as the season goes, it doesn't really make that big of a difference, I don't think. And with him being a veteran and Green still working on pitches, like you said, I think it kind of takes the pressure off Green a little bit and helps him out. So Montas has started, I want to say, 5 opening days when he's in Oakland, something like that. So I mean, he's done it before. So I know people are losing their mind about it, but it's just kind of like are people overblowing that? Is what I guess what I want to ask.
Yeah, I having had time to really reflect on it now, I kind of like this move. Hunter Green is openly stating that he's working on pitches. He's adding the splitter. He's trying to add a curveball. He's working on those pitches. He's also said that he's put a lot of pressure on himself in the past when he has been in the Reds' number 1 role, in the ace role. I like this move because Montas has done it before. He knows how to do it without putting extra pressure on himself. And here's why I really like this move. Because let's extrapolate it out. Let's just say the rotation is, for the most part, healthy through the year. Fingers crossed. We hope. What this will mean is that Hunter Green won't be matching up with the other team's number 1 all the time. That means that he's going to get increased run support in 2024, especially with this offense that we're expecting to cook a little bit. I see that taking even an extra amount of pressure off Hunter Green because he's going to be pitching with a lead. He's going to be able to get deeper into ball games. He's not going to be as susceptible to when one of these pitches that he's working on doesn't quite get over and someone tags him. He's going to be a little bit built-in immunity there to giving up the home run.
Last chance. All right. Well, I think we can hear you moving your paper around, so I think we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Is my audio crappy loud?
Oh, is that what Joe sounds like? All right.
We got Joe! Joe has made it.
Fellas, how the hell are we doing?
Good.
We're
We
doing
just
great.
We're just here talking baseball, making fun of you the whole time. When you're
That's
gone.
fine. I mean, those are my two favorite subjects: making fun of myself and Steven, you do an awesome job with my good buddies, evil twin Jeff Carr, Tim Daniels. Those two have never been
doppelgangers.
spotted. Yeah, those two have never been spotted in the same place at the same time.
No, they haven't. I'm still wondering about that myself. It's a very, very, very scary situation. So Lodolo pitched for the first time, looked pretty good. Do you think he's going to be in the rotation? I mean, I think he's going to be. I mean, I know it's still early, but what's your thoughts, Steven?
So barring a setback, and that was a good start. It was the typical first outing of spring, 2 innings. He struck out a guy, didn't allow any runs, didn't walk anyone. Great first outing. The real key is how he recovered from that. So, we reached out to a couple of our sources out in Goodyear who told us that, even though the team was not at the training facility yesterday, they had the day off, that Lodolo was fine. He had suffered no ill effects from pitching in that game. That's the important part.
Right.
That's the big takeaway. Never mind the line score. Never mind how he looked on the mound. It was the day after. And by all accounts from everyone out there, the day after was just fine. That being said, he's not going to be ready the first time through when the season starts. The nice thing is the Reds are not going to need a 5th starter until the second time through the rotation. Right. So what I anticipate happens is that Nick Lodolo opens the season on the injured list for a 10-day. The Reds take an extra relief pitcher north for the first week of the season and have 9 in the bullpen. And then when that second time through comes up and they need the 5th starter, if Lodolo is ready, and he should be, they activate him, send a reliever out. And if he's not ready, well, they have continued to work Nick Martinez as a starting pitcher in Goodyear, and he'll be ready to step in to that 5th starter spot if they need him. So the idea would be Nick would be in the bullpen the first week, and by then you'd have an idea if Lodolo is going to be ready or not. And then you either stop using Martinez for that second week and have him ready as your 5th starter, or you're able to activate Lodolo and move forward.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Joe, since you haven't been able to talk much here, what's your thoughts on what do you got for Steven? What's your hard-hitting question you got for Steven here? Look, he's taking a drink of he's taking a shot. He's ready to go.
The only question I have is a question isn't even the right thing, more of a statement. Do you think there's a chance that Martinez can earn his way into the rotation? I'm still leery. When I see Andrew Abbott, I see a lot of Tony Cingrani. And if you look at how Cingrani kind of flew through the system as a left-hander with not overpowering stuff, but deception, and he flew through the minor leagues, came up and first few times through the league pitched really, really well. Then league kind of figured out he's more, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but
Cingrani didn't have that many pitches.
Well, right, but I mean that's my concern. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but that's just kind of my concern with Abbott, because he obviously, whether it was fatigue, first time pitching this X amount of innings, he was not the same pitcher the last 6 weeks of the season. He's still young. So, I mean, obviously I'm not saying let's get rid of the guy, he's a bust or anything like that, but I can honestly see a scenario to where Abbott is, I don't know if they demote him to Louisville or put him in the pen or whatever, to where Martinez is in the rotation, even when Lodolo comes back at some point during the season, even if everybody's healthy.
So Andrew Abbott's not looked great in Goodyear, and I try really hard. I try really hard to resist the temptation to put any meaning on spring training stats, because guys are not throwing pitches in situations where they normally would throw them. They're working on things. They're facing, minor league hitters that are, trying to prove something while the pitcher is just trying to get their pitches in. There's lots of reasons why you shouldn't put a whole lot into what you see out in Goodyear. That being said, Andrew Abbott hasn't looked great, and it is a little concerning. And to your point, you're right. Is Andrew Abbott really the guy in his first 10 starts that had a sub-3 ERA? Or is he really that guy we saw over the last 6 or so that looked very, very hittable? I tend to think he's somewhere in the middle. I think he was gassed at the end. I think that while the league did adjust, they didn't adjust that much. That a lot of that was because he was gassed. And the question is, will he be that guy that's in the middle? And that guy is a perfectly valuable number 4 starter if that's the guy that he is. To your question, can Nick Martinez take that spot away from him? I think Nick Martinez can take a spot away from anybody that struggles, say, beyond the first 4 or 5 starts, because like we talked about while you were working on your tech there, David Bell is going to be tasked with putting a winner together this year. No, gone are the days where he can let guys ride because it doesn't really mean anything.
You're not
These are
going to see
times
21
where he's
starts
gotta
from
win.
Luke Weaver?
No, we're not. We're not going to see 21 starts from Luke
We're not
Weaver.
going to be
And
seeing Dream Weaver anymore.
and we're also not going to see random whoever happened to be available at Louisville to come up and make starts for this team. And we're not going to see bullpen days. The depth in the rotation says that if a guy's not working out, where you go to back to Brendan Williamson, or you go to Connor Phillips, or maybe Chase Petty's ready at that point, or you go to Aguiar, you go to any of these other guys that are just kind of waiting in the wings for their opportunity. Does Nick Martinez become a starter? Well, it depends on if you're willing to put, say, a Brendan Williamson in your bullpen, because they'll still need that multi-innings guy in the bullpen. So you have to ask yourself, what's the best role for Martinez? I think he's much more valuable as the multi-innings guy pitching 4 or 5 times a week versus making every 5th start for this team.
Wells here says Williams is going to long relief or AAA. I think he's going to be in AAA. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think you keep him stretched out and ready for if you need to put him back in the rotation.
And that right there just goes to the depth of what we have. I mean, how many starts did Williams make last year? I mean, he was a regular guy in the rotation for most
23.
of the year. 23 starts.
23 starts.
And he's going to be a starter, but he's going to be in AAA right there. That tells you the depth that we have, and that's what's exciting about this team. I keep talking about the depth, but we have so many guys that we can put out there, and they're quality guys. Like you just said, we don't have to go grab. We're not gonna have a bullpen day. We don't have to go grab whoever's supposed to start the next day in Louisville. Hey, hold him back. We need him up here. That's not gonna happen this year. That's the part that's intriguing to me, and I don't get this, Steven, and I think the Reds should be the favorite to win the Central. I mean, I don't get. I mean, a lot of people are picking the Cardinals. I hate the Tweety Bird, so there's a reason I don't like this. But, I mean, if you look at talent for talent, I mean, I think we got the most talented team in our division.
Yeah, we've got some shows coming over at Locked On Reds either next week or opening day week where we sat down with the Locked On shows baseball wide. We all got together, the entire MLB channel,
right?
Got together and answered some questions. And when the Central was discussed, a lot of people feel like the St. Louis Cardinals are, well, for lack of a better term, overrated, right? The Cardinals did that thing that you do for a fan base of casual fans. They did that thing where you go sign some names that people will recognize, and the everyday casual fan will believe that, oh, wow, they went and got some dudes. But, unfortunately, all of those dudes are well into the decline phase. I feel like St. Louis should be sponsored by Ensure or Centrum Silver or one of those companies on the arm patch. Every St. Louis Cardinals game should start at 1 p.m. so the team bus can go directly to the early bird special. This team is aged a little bit, and I think it's going to come through. They may open strong, but those guys are going to wear out. Those guys are going to get injured. And we're already seeing it. Sonny Gray, and I love Sonny Gray during his time in Cincinnati, has already tweaked something, and that's going to be the storyline out in St. Louis. Meanwhile, you've got the Brewers who are low-key blowing it up, and by the All-Star break, I think they're going to be all in on blowing it up and doing a quick rebuild up there. And you can't really say a change in manager makes a huge difference, but I think losing Craig Counsell in the division makes a big difference in Milwaukee as well. That leads you to the Cubs. I think the Cubs are the wild card. The Cubs are the team that are going to give the Reds the most trouble. They're going to be the team that the Reds should pay the most attention to. I think that's going to be the race for the division championship. It's going to be the Reds and the Cubs. The Pirates are going to be the Pirates. They'll have some moments. They'll be better than people think. They may not even finish last. I think Milwaukee has a shot to finish last in this division this year.
I would hate that. That would make my heart break if Milwaukee finished last.
So for me, that's kind of how it shakes out. I think it's a 2-horse race with the Reds and the Cubs, and everybody else will be competing for trying to not finish last.
Now, a funny thing you say, manager, and I agree that I don't think a manager makes that big of a difference, but the Chicago Cubs sure did. What they went and paid him was. I'm still shocked how much they paid him to leave the Brewers and go.
Yeah, I think the only guy more shocked is David Ross because they announced that hiring before they fired David Ross. So this dude's walking along, probably minding his own business, and gets a ESPN alert that says the Cubs hire Craig Counsell, and he's like, "No, they didn't.
I'm still the manager.
That's my job."
Yeah, like what's going on here? Paul Painter here, and I do agree with this. He always has some good comments. He says he still needs another pitch, meaning Williamson. And that's one thing. If he's down in AAA, he can work on that. And we're talking about different Hunter Green working on different pitches. We've had I've had Graham Ashcraft on here, and he was talking about what happened last year of how he got off to such an awful start and then he fixed it. And I'm like, I asked him, what did he do? And he said, they found out he was tipping his pitches. And ever since then, he's been back to the until he got hurt, obviously, the Graham Ashcraft that we've got used to. I think he is the most durable, as long as he's not tipping his pitches, the most durable and the most reliable pitcher the Reds have on that pitching staff. If there's a big game right now, today, I'm starting Graham Ashcraft on that. Because Hunter Green can throw it 105 miles an hour, but if it goes straight down the middle, they can hit it 105 miles that way. Graham's got the moxie and the different pitches, I think. And it's not because he comes on my show. People are like, oh, it's like he came on your show. It does help. But I thought this before. I think Graham Ashcraft is a really good starting pitcher. I think he has a shot of having a really good year this year. What's your thoughts on Graham?
He's the workhorse of the rotation, right? 26 starts, 145 plus innings in 2023. He was outside of the little stretch where he was injured. He was the guy you could count on every fifth day, no matter what the rest of this staff was doing and blowing up. You could count on Graham being out there. Mm-hmm. And, I think one of the aspects that's not talked about a lot in that stretch where he was really struggling. Interesting to hear the pitch tipping part of the conversation, because it also coincided with when his grandmother died last year. And I think mentally, that got him a little bit, and everybody grieves differently. And I think he had to process that as well. Right. So maybe those two things combined for that really rough stretch that he had. But once he figured it out, he was right back to being that guy and right back to being Mr. Reliable. And it reminds me a lot of Tom Browning, right? A guy that, he may not go out there and have the nastiest ninja sword pitching ninja pitch that you're going to see come across your timeline, but he's just consistent and he's reliable. And you don't have to worry on that every fifth day, because Graham's going to show up and take the ball and give you 5-6 innings and keep your team in the game. And that's, for a starting pitcher, second, third, fourth in the rotation, you can't ask for any more than that. So, I'm with you. Graham Ashcraft, of this staff, and time will tell. We got 162 games to figure it out. But, if I had to pick the game one playoff starter right now, you're not wrong. And, maybe it is Graham Ashcraft, just to kind of set the tone.
Yeah. I mean, moving forward, the guys with the best stuff obviously would be Lodolo or Green. Those would be the ones that you'd want to be your 1-2 punch, and then Ashcraft come in the third game. But as of right now, he would be the guy that I would lean on. Joe, what do you got, man?
You're forgetting Frankie Montas.
We did talk about him. He's the opening day
starter.
But
you were ranking the game one starters.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like the opening day starter. It's not as important to me as your game one starter.
People were absolutely losing their minds. They're like, oh my god, this is what does it say? But they were upset that Montas was the opening day starter instead of Green. Who cares? It matters one game. And
ask yourself the question this way. If you take the 5 presumed starting pitchers that the Reds are going to roll out there to start the season, 1 through 5 in the rotation.
Are you counting Lodolo, or are you counting Martinez?
I'm counting Lodolo. I'm counting Lodolo, not Martinez. If you take those 5 guys, there's nobody outside of Graham Ashcraft that doesn't have a question mark after their name. Yeah. Frankie Montas, question mark. Is the shoulder going to hold up to 32 starts? We don't know. When you're talking about Hunter Green, is he going to be able to add these other pitches and not just throw that flat fastball up there? Question mark. When you're talking about Andrew Abbott, is he the real guy? Is he the sub-3 ERA guy, or is he the guy we saw at the end of the season? Question mark. And we're talking about, who did I miss there? Nick Lodolo.
Lodolo, yeah.
Is that leg going to hold up? Is it going to flare again? We don't know. Question mark. Graham Ashcraft. 26 starts, 145 innings. He's going to go out there and he's going to sling the ball. There's no question mark there. Mm-hmm. So if I've got to pick a guy right now at the beginning of the season to be the playoff starter, well, I'm picking the one without the question mark, and that's Graham Ashcraft.
Exactly. All right, Crypt Keeper here's got a question. Is TJ Anton finished with baseball, or is he trying to come back? As far as I know, he's trying to come back, right? He's been pitching now.
He's a contender to make this bullpen.
Yeah. Which I hope to God he does, because I felt so happy for him last year when he made it all the way back, but then he hurt something. And I'm like, oh, no, not again.
And therein lies the problem, right? Mm-hmm. The Reds were telling us that, if the Reds had made the playoffs, TJ Anton would be available. Well, it's easy to say that because they didn't make the playoffs, and you don't have to prove that statement. fact of the matter is TJ Antone's arm has not held up to an entire season of baseball. I would hate to get rid of, say, Ian Jabot to make room for TJ Antone, and then Antone to break down 6 or 7 games in. So I project that TJ Antone makes the opening day bullpen because, again, I think they're going to take 9 relievers until such time they need the 5th starter. The nice thing about Antone as well as Cruz is they both have an option remaining. So both of those guys can be sent down and we don't lose them. They can be stashed to cover injuries throughout the season. You don't have that luxury with the rest of the guys in this bullpen. Anybody else outside of Antone and Cruz, you would have to outright waive them in order to make room. So for me, TJ is going to have to prove it a little bit. I think when he's healthy, man, he's nasty. He's so much fun to watch pitch. I just don't know if he can. I don't know if he has 50 appearances in him. We just don't know.
And it's funny you bring up Jabot, and I think Jabot gets a lot of heat, but I think he had a pretty good season for us last year. There's times where he comes out, like I love Spaceball, so two sides to every Schwartz. I say there's 2 sides to every Jabot. You don't know if you're getting the good Jabot or the bad Jabot. Toward the end of the season, I think we saw the good Jabot more than the bad, and he's one that I'm looking for more consistency out of him, which I think we got a shot at that this year. Not where he's going to be, our back end of the bullpen guy. He's still going to be a middle reliever. But what's your thoughts just on Ian Jabot in general?
Well, so Ian Jabot, there were times last year where he was a little lucky when you look at his numbers and see how things planned out. He also, a lot of the runs that he allowed were inherited runners that reflected in somebody else's line.
Right.
The Reds actually led baseball in inherited runners. I don't know if you know that or not last year. Their bullpen took on more inherited runners than any other bullpen in baseball. You're absolutely right about Ian Jabot and where you use him. He's not an 8th inning guy. He's not your setup man. He's not your closer. Very valuable in the 6th or 7th inning to bridge to the back end of the bullpen. The thing with Ian Jabot, the thing that the Reds have asked of him is that when they brought him over, I forget, I think it's under 20 games was the max he had appeared in Major League Baseball games in a season. The Reds doubled that total the first year in the amount of work they gave him, the amount of times they used him. And then last year, they more than doubled it again. He was 70 plus in appearances. He was in a lot of baseball games. So there'll be a question this year of how does his arm come back from that? How does he look heading back? Well, what we see now is that he's a little tweaked. They say he's close, but unless he starts pitching tonight or within the next couple days, I doubt that he's going to be ready for opening day. And he may start the season on the injured list as well, which again helps Antone and Cruz because 2 guys that you can bring north and that have options if you need to send them down later. If one of the others proves they can't get it done, and then when Jabot's ready, well, you just make the move. You send a guy down, you activate him. You don't have to fiddle with the 40-man. You don't have to lose a guy to waivers. It's kind of the perfect storm for the Reds to get a good look at Cruz and Antone.
Exactly. Like I said, it goes to the depth of this pitcher staff, depth of this team, and I'm very excited about it. Steven, you've been on for 38 minutes. I appreciate it. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know it's early in the morning there, and it's a struggle fest there in Hawaii.
Struggle's real.
Yeah,
it's real. Terrible living in Hawaii, man.
It's got to be horrible. Do me a favor. If people don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, you're on Locked On Reds, but go ahead and plug some stuff you got going on and before I let you go.
Yeah, we are a Monday through Friday podcast plus emergency and covering things on the weekend. You can find us at Locked On Reds online on X. You can follow me at S Offenbaker. You can follow Jeff at Jeff Carr, Jeff with 3 Fs, Offenbaker with 2 Fs. No Fs in Locked On Reds. We're everywhere you get a podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Go subscribe, click like, check us out because we want to talk Reds baseball with you.
Sounds good, Steven. Hey, I appreciate it, Joe. I have to get you back on, and Jeff's been on here a couple times with me, so we'll get you back on
Anytime.
here later in the season. Thanks, man.
Anytime.
Hey,
Take it easy.
You enjoy Hawaii. Don't stress out too much. See you, man. Yeah, I know that's gotta suck to live in Hawaii, man. Jeez.
Terrible. I'm looking at, we just talking about Ian Jabot, and I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page, which for those of you that are listening, watching all that fun stuff, if you're a stat nerd like me, Baseball Savant has just some of the coolest charts and graphs. There's a lot of red on Ian Jabot's Baseball Savant page, and that's a good thing. When you look at his fastball run value, his fastball is a very valuable, useful pitch. Average exit velocity, he's not giving up a lot of hard velocity. It's the 89th percentile, so 100 pitchers, only 10 of them are giving up softer contact than he is. chase rate 83%, 83rd percentile. The people are swinging a lot of his pitches out of the zone. Hard hit rate. I cringed when he came in last year. It seemed like he was always getting in and out of trouble.
Walking that tight
his
line.
numbers look really good when you're looking at the at a lot of the peripherals. So
yeah, he walked that tightrope a lot last year.
Yeah, I mean his K rate and walk rate aren't great. They're kind of towards the middle, low, a little bit sub middle. But outside of that, I mean, he's a useful pitcher, especially someone who's going to be coming in the 6th and 7th instead of the 8th, or coming to the 9th in a tie game. So
exactly, hopefully we're not going to have to use him as much this year. All right, so let's transition here to some Bengals talk. Well, first of all, did you actually let's do Bearcats here real quick? Did you watch the game?
I didn't get a chance to. I was sitting in the car for an hour while my daughter was doing at gymnastics. I didn't want to listen to it because I'm tracking I'm tracking all their games, and I'm watching them live, but I can't watch it on TV because I would throw something through that TV.
I was about to.
I'm just watching it. I'm tracking the score, on my phone, just get score by score. And second half, West Virginia decided to stop missing shots.
Yeah,
and they're down by what, 16 at one point?
16 at one point. Seamus Lukosius went off though.
Yeah, Lukosius and Day decided that they were just going to go.
They were going to make
NBA
shots.
Jam. Yeah, they were just.
Hey, it's amazing what happens when you actually get defensive stops and you make stops and you don't turn the ball over so much.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right,
Seamus had what, 31 points? I don't know what Day ended up at, but over 20.
Yeah. Let's talk some Bengals here, and everybody's talking Japanese Bengal here. Japan Bengal. Hey, are you actually in Japan? I'm curious. It says trade T. Higgins plus a second round and a third round to the Vikings to get Justin Jefferson. Ain't gonna happen. Love you. Thanks for watching the show. That's not gonna happen. I am not giving up that much to get Justin Jefferson.
If you're giving up that much draft capital, giving up that much draft capital, just pay T and keep the draft picks because Bengals still need a lot of help in the trenches.
Yeah. All right. Brad said Day had 29 points. So
good Lord. So 60 points between the two of them. That'll play.
That's awesome. So Bengals news. All right. So we still have not got as far as I know right now, I've checked Twitter since I've been on the show here. We haven't got a right tackle. We have not got a defensive interior lineman. They ended up trading Joe Mixon. I did a emergency podcast last night, and Corey Dillon was it's California time, so he was still awake. He was happy enough or nice enough to join me. But then we were thought they were going to cut Joe Mixon. Actually, turns out that they traded him, which, again, to me, not a normal Bengal move. I don't know what they got from him. I don't care. That kept him away from the Steelers. That kept him away from the Browns. That kept him away from the Ravens. Now, the Ratbirds went out and signed Derrick Henry.
I would have been okay with that because I think he's on the downside of his career.
Yeah, but you still got something for him. But well, that's where I'm at now. Okay, I have a question for you with Derrick Henry. The Ratbirds signed him. That's where I think Derrick Henry is. I think he might be on the downside of his career.
He's due for it. He's led the league in carries 4 of the last 5 seasons, but he still had, and I forget the exact spot, but it was the fourth or fifth fastest ball carrier last year. They actually tracking his whatever his speed was the fourth or fifth fastest of all ball carriers, and something else. It was either missed tackles or elusivity or something like that. He was in the top 5, so he should be slowing down. I mean, he's 29 now. I don't know when he turns 30. He's due to for age to start catching up to him for all the carries and everything he's had, but for every other running back in the world there's someone like Adrian Peterson that can play well into their
maybe he can. I don't know, but
right.
For me, people are like, "Oh, this is a great move." I'm like, I don't think it's a bad move, but I'm still not worried about it. I mean, if the Bengals, if they get the right tackle fixed, they get their defensive line fixed, there's not a team in the NFL that I'm afraid of with Joe Burrow as their quarterback. Now, what's your thoughts on Stone? I think that sounds right.
Geno Stone?
Yeah, the safety we signed.
He was one of my picks that I wanted to, and I said yesterday when we were live during the really slow opening moments of free agency.
Yes, on your show. Yes.
Yeah. He was the safety that I wanted them to get. I think scheme wise as a free safety, which they didn't really have a free safety last year. We have no idea what Dax Hill is. He's an athlete, but yet to translate those skills to the football field yet, at least as an NFL player.
At least consistently, anyway.
Right. Jordan Battle looks like an absolute legit dude.
Yes.
But he's more of a strong safety, in the box type. So they need that center fielder. They need the Jesse Bates type guy. Geno Stone, I'm not saying he's going to be all pro like Jesse Bates, but for what they got him for, and the guy was a 7th round pick.
He's 25.
25 years old. Yeah, 25 years old. Former 7th round pick and got a fair deal. Like he's not like he's going to be hurting to pay the bills.
It's a Bengal move over the last couple of years. It's how they got Trey Henderson, how they got Mike Hilton, how they got DJ
Von Bell.
Von Bell. We paid a lot of money for DJ, but I mean that's what they've done, and that's the age 25 to 30 is where they want them, and that's where they got them right there. It's
coming off that rookie contract, and Stone was young coming into the league, so 25 years old, hitting his second contract, you're getting his prime years. So I mean, 2 years. I mean, I would have gone a little bit longer than 2 years, but I mean, it's still 2 years that you don't have to worry about that free safety spot. And again, you've got that other safety locked up for at least 3 years with Jordan Battle. So,
right, exactly.
Well done,
now,
well done.
When my question is, when is Jamar and Gesicki going to do a gritty off?
There's a long way. Gesicki has a very, very long road to go before he gets to even being able.
I will crack up. I cannot wait for him to get his first touchdown and he do that shitty ass gritty he does. That would be so awesome.
So my daughter cheerleads and she's in 3rd grade. So you're seeing like 8-year-old, 9-year-olds, whatever. Seeing these kids trying to do a gritty after they score. That's what Gesicki looks like. He's like running, like dude, it's like a skip, like your feet. You like skip. You don't like run, like just no.
It's very, 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 very cringy.
It's
but
bad. However,
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
For this Gesicki move, I love it.
Yes,
I wanted them to look at him last year when he was a free agent. He's not a tight end so much as he is a very large-bodied slot receiver, and that's what they're. And Tyler Boyd is gone. They're not. I mean, I would be surprised if they even pick up the phone outside of hey, appreciate the 8 years. Good luck in the market. This is going to bring so much versatility for the team. They can run, and they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel now. So that's one running back, 2 tight ends. Because Drew Sample, he's your traditional tight end.
Yep.
I love how they use him as an H-back and have him back in shotguns as the third down, almost like the third down back, and leak him out. When he's done with pass protection. But you can run everything out of 12 personnel. When they brought in Tanner Hudson, you knew they were going to throw the ball.
Yes.
He's not there to run block. Mm-mm. And yeah, Gesicki isn't going to be asked to block a ton, but
you don't know.
You bring in tight ends. Yeah. You bring in 2 tight ends, and you can run. You can and you're going to have to throw. So they're going to keep a linebacker in or an extra safety. He's got such a matchup advantage over linebackers because he's fast enough, and over safeties because he's huge because he's 6'6". And he's got he's got the speed. They're going to run he's going to get so many yards over the middle, down the seam on play action passes. I think you're going to see a lot more under center game from Joe Burrow this year. He still wants to throw.
They were going to do that last year until he got hurt. That's what I kept hearing.
Look at the game plan from the 49ers. They ran. Again, they're still primarily going to be a shotgun team. Zach Moss is one of the best shotgun running backs in the NFL. So they're not going to go away from that, but they're going to make it more varied and just make them less predictable. And even with a predictable Bengals, they were really, really good on offense for a couple years. But if you can make the defensive coordinator have to think,
right,
and make the safeties have to worry about,
make it look like we were when we played the 49ers.
Yeah.
That game, they didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I think the Joe Mixon trade, the Zach Moss signing, the tight end, I just lost his name.
Gesicki.
Thank you, Gesicki signing. To me, those are moves that they're trying to make up for last year. Those are moves they should have done probably last year. They should have got a tight end, or they could have freaking drafted one. They didn't do it. Probably should have moved on from Joe Mixon last year. They didn't. Yeah. And we really, but it wouldn't even move on from Joe Mixon. We really did. They should have signed another running back or something. They should have added to that room.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it because they weren't. I don't think they expected to lose. And then you can go with that with Stone with the safety. They didn't expect to lose Von Bell. Guys that they didn't expect to lose. They didn't have. It didn't seem like that they didn't have a plan moving forward as to what to do.
Yeah.
As my headphone pops off here, this year seems like they were aggressive at all right. These are spots we've got to fix. Now I'm still worried about I want right tackle. That's the spot they got to fix. But they're making it. I hate to say they're making it up for last year, but that's what it kind of seems like. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I think this year they didn't go into the offseason or didn't start free agency expecting guys to come back.
Right.
Last year,
yes,
they assumed Samaje Perine was coming back.
Yep.
I think they were positive Von Bell was coming back. I think they were pretty sure that they'd be able to bring Hayden Hurst back. And these are the exact three spots that we're talking about right here: tight end, running back, and safety. So they went out and were aggressive. I mean, Tanner Hudson's still out there. I think there's a chance they bring Tanner Hudson back because they still need more tight ends.
I think they will.
They now have two. And
I think they bring him back, and I think they bring Trent Irwin back too. I think both them are coming.
And he's redundant. I like Trent Irwin as a guy. He fills in like he fills in stats, but you look at
dude when he's called on, he makes plays. You need guys like that. I'm not saying you rely on him, but if somebody gets hurt or something like that, and you don't, dude, I could totally see him getting more touches in the slot if we not signing T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd. I could see that.
If Trenton Irwin is back, it's because they have no faith that Charlie Jones is going to give them anything outside of being a returner. The white wide receiver is a battle for one guy. You can't they both can't win.
Well, I guess Yoshi's a Hawaiian, so never mind. I say they got three. He's actually Hawaiian. So that brings me to T. Now bring it up here. Paul Painter brought it up. He said T is worth 3 years, $66 million, 35 guaranteed. Duke can get that done. T wants to stay. I don't know if that's what they're looking for. I don't know. It sounds like they haven't really negotiated a whole lot. And I said this on the show with Corey yesterday and Richmond Webb that it's not necessarily T didn't call them up and say, hey, I want to get traded. It's the agent. And this is his only move that they have. And I've said this before. I said if they tag him, then they're probably not signing him. It's probably not going to happen. Can they fit him under the cap? And maybe these moves with Mixon and with the trade. Where's it at here? Here, what else put up there? With the trade, they get a 7th round pick, and it saves them from $3 million dead cash hit. So dead cash hit.
They still get it. There's still a $2.6 million cap hit from Mixon.
Yeah, but that's nothing compared to what it would have been.
But yeah, it's basically cuts them. Yeah, cuts.
So I mean, they're freeing up money to who knows, maybe resign. I'm not giving up on that.
Before they even worry about T. Higgins, they absolutely need to address the defensive line, the interior defensive line.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and maybe that's maybe what they're waiting on. I mean, that's a good point. Maybe they're waiting on seeing who they sign. You know,
they need to make a move because those guys are disappearing. The top guys are gone, which didn't really think that they were going to be in for those guys anyway. But
is the guy from the Colts, Shaq? Did he sign with anybody? The defensive lineman from the Colts, Shaq is not Lawson. Can't think of his name. And Brad, now everybody's gonna hate me for this, but I get lots of hate for this. Brad wants to know if do I want to keep Jonah? Yeah. I mean, if we,
I wouldn't be upset if they kept him, but.
But the thing is, if you keep him, I'm still want to. If you keep Jonah, you're signing for probably at least 2-3 years. I'm still I'm drafting. The thing is, look, if you sign Jonah, and you have all 5 guys come back, I don't care what anybody says. Dave Lappamine said this on my show. If you have all 5 guys come back, that's a good thing, because that helps the cohesiveness of your offensive line. Have the same guys back-to-back years, which the Bengals have not had that. I would be for Jonah. So if you sign Jonah, or you sign somebody like that to a 2 or 3 year contract. That opens the door up for Brock Bowers, which with Gesicki, I don't think they're going to draft him, but
Hey, what? It's 1 year. Gesicki's on a 1 year deal.
yeah, I mean
That just means they don't have to get that guy,
right,
that pass catcher immediately.
right. So that's one of the two things they got, and that's the point they're getting. If they get a right tackle, they get a defensive interior lineman, then they can do what the Bengals do best: is draft the best player possible. And that's what we need. So I can't think of the guy's name that I'm talking about from the Colts.
Taekwon Lewis. Is that who?
Is he? I thought it was a.
He was from Indianapolis. He re-signed for Indianapolis. They also re-signed Grover Stewart.
Grover, maybe that's who I was talking about. I don't know. I don't remember now. Yeah, here. Yeah, I think that's it. Lewis said it too. Wells said it too.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's see here. Rankins, Reader, and Tart are still available. There you go. I hope they get Reader. I want DJ back.
I want a healthy DJ back. I don't want to, because apparently, I mean, there are teams out there for him. The thing I fear is dumping money on a guy that's not going to be ready.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of surprised at how much, and this might be agent speak, how much talk DJ is actually getting.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with him being injured, I didn't think he was really going to get signed till closer to training camp or during training camp until he proves how healthy he is, you know?
I've heard crickets about how his rehab's going, so I have no idea.
I've seen him walking around without a lip or anything, but other than that, I don't know. Yeah, I know Dave Lappin said he was still in the facility doing his rehab and stuff, so.
Now he can't be.
yeah, not up to.
Well, actually, I think he can until tomorrow at 4, because that's the new league year. So he's got, 21 and a half hours of being able to rehab.
And then he's got to go to Black Sheep or wherever
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Brad said.
You know, on the west side where men are built.
West Side!
I'm at the east side. Ha ha ha. It's in Blue Ash.
Who invited you on the show? But yeah, it's been a very interesting 24 hours on Bengals social media. And people crack me up with this, all he wants is the money. All he wants is this. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the only leverage he has. And like, look, dude, one, if they don't give Mulgetta, they have to give Mulgetta permission to go negotiate a contract with other teams. I don't see the Bengals doing that. I don't think, and this is what I think it's the same thing as what Jesse Bates did. Jesse Bates he missed all of preseason games, almost all of training camp. He didn't sign his franchise tag till right before the season started. I think T's going to do the same thing. I think Mulgetta's going to make him do the same thing. And it's the reason they do that is so they don't injure themselves. That's going to be the big thing for Cheese, trying to make it the whole year without injuring himself. Then he's going to go and make $21.8 million, which is a lot of damn money. And then he's probably going to move on. But we'll see.
People that get on agents, people that get on. I mean, Mulgetta is a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah.
These players, first off, there's no loyalty by the ownership. If you get injured, if you get a major injury and it makes they can get out from your contract without being too much dead money, you're gone. You get paid very little of that. I do not begrudge a player for signing for every last penny. And yeah, it sucks. When you see guys you want, leave your team, go to, would have been awesome to have Jesse Bates back more tan having T. Higgins. Some of the guys that left for more money over the years, but I get it. NFL has such a short career. The contracts, I can't believe that guaranteed contracts are not a thing in the NFL. For as many injuries, how is the Players Association not fought for that? That what a week.
How are they going to do
union.
that, man? That's the thing. We talked about it with Corey last night.
Strike.
But
Don't play.
I get that, but there's that works for the superstars. That doesn't work for the guys who fight for their jobs every single year. And they don't.
They're not. These are guys. You sign a contract. You sign a rookie contract. You're under contract for 4 years, even if you get injured. You're getting paid that entire money.
Not if you're on strike, you're not.
No, but I mean,
and that's the thing. They only got like a football career is the average is 4 years. You're gonna go on strike and you're gonna miss a whole year of that potential. I'm like, that's the problem. I mean, that's the problem.
You know how many billions of dollars? You know how many billions of dollars everyone would lose? A strike would not last long. And it's not going to happen because that's. I mean, it's too simplistic to say. Just strike to get. And there's a reason they don't have them, but it's just. I just think it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit that the owners can get out. I mean, owners making so much money, making billions of dollars. I mean, how much money did Paul Brown pay for his franchise? Like $50 million, and it's worth over $3 billion. Like, what return on investment for that over the course of 55 seasons?
I am not disagreeing with you. I think that the players should. I am all for the players making as much money as they can. And if T. Higgins does leave and gets a bag somewhere else, I will still be a T. Higgins fan. When we play against him, I'll root against him.
Best wishes, best wishes. But
I will never be upset about that because everybody. You, me, everybody watching this or listening to the podcast will do the exact same damn thing.
Right. I mean, if you're not out there trying to, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. I mean, you could be a construction worker. You could be a lawyer. If you're not trying to go out and negotiate the best, like the highest, whatever, benefits, financial, whatever that you can get, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You're screwing over the next person to take that job. Like, you've got a responsibility. Get as much money as you can. Like, fuck the owners. Fuck owners in every company. Fuck corporate America.
For T, like I said, now the thing is for T, if the Bengals get close, I don't know what close is, but within a couple $1 million, when you're talking, $60 million, I don't know what close is, but if they get close, and T still leaves, that's when I go like, I mean, that's where I'm like, is it that big of a deal? Is it that big of a difference? So like, say they come in with within $5 million. I mean, and you're getting, $60 million a year instead of $65 million a year. That's still more money than you ever be able to spend if you're smart with your money. That's where it comes to me. It's like, okay, well, then I hope T looks at it like this. I think Corey said this on here. Think about what the team you're leaving. The quarterback you're leaving. That's the part. If the Bengals get close, that's the part that I hope T thinks about. And
there's something to be said for being comfortable. Yeah, something to be said for being comfortable and enjoying where you work. I get that. But first off, I think Bengals and Mulligetta they're done. Like, they're not negotiating. Like, that's done.
But the thing is, sometime the Bengals are going to have to negotiate with this guy because he keeps getting guaranteed money and big money for his players. They're going to have to figure this out somehow to work something out with this guy. Because somebody on Twitter was like, "Oh, just don't draft any guys that he has." Well, you might be missing out on the top 10 guys because he could be their agent.
It's like guys saying don't sign any Scott Boras clients in baseball. Like, no, you've got to deal with agents, or otherwise, if you have a need for a specific position and that guy represents it, you're going to just totally write that guy off, even if he's a complete fit. The money's going to be right. You're just because you don't want to negotiate with that guy. Danielle Hunter signs with the Texans. That is a really nice move. Texans are having a sneaky good good week.
Oh, they got that rookie quarterback contract.
That's a very valuable thing.
They could be the Bengals of 2021.
That's the goal. Yeah,
I would not be surprised with that. Anyway, Joe, we've been on for an hour I've been on for an hour and
I've been on for like 40 minutes.
You've been on for a little while because you had internet issues. But I think we're going to do this again tomorrow. I think it's going to be you and me, right?
You didn't ask me on tomorrow.
Thursday? Yeah, I did. You can't do Friday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh, tomorrow is Wednesday. You're coming back on Thursday. That's right. I get my days.
I'm not.
Dude,
I'll be out eating.
I got so much crap going on in my life right now. I forget. Oh yeah, I got the Gridiron Gang joins the show tomorrow. That's gonna be cool. Anyway, plug the stuff or I'll let you go.
Bengals show.
You are coming on Thursday.
I will be back on Thursday. Well, maybe. I'll let you know. It depends on if everything is working because StreamYard hates me or my computer hates me or something like that. So,
well, you'll be in and out. I'll just talk to myself till you get it all figured out.
That's what you do anyway. Bengals show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that fun shit. YouTube.com, Riverfront Cincy. You guys know where to find me. I'm here a bunch. Exactly. Thanks for having me on, brother.
No problem. I'm glad you got your microphone and everything. It worked out there.
Only had to reboot my computer 3 times.
Hey, well, it works. All right, brother. Take it easy. Who day? All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. I had Steven Offenbaker on. If you missed any of it, Steven Offenbaker was on from Locked On Reds. Me and Joe Farsing were on for the last 20 minutes. Go back. Make sure you check it out. It's on. If you listen to it on podcasts, it's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on ZTV, YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble. Like I said, the podcast. Shout out to my sponsors, Midwest Best Barbecue, the best barbecue joint in Cincinnati. If you're looking for an awesome sports bar to go hang out at, go check out Hail Mary's. That's from Westside Peeps. It's right there in the middle of Cheviot. It's a cool little bar. It got this big, giant-ass TV screen. I mean, it's a whole freaking wall, and you can watch every game there. Go watch the NCAA tournament. I might be doing that. I might be doing that next week because I'll be on vacation. So, and I'll hopefully be back in town by then. Maybe we'll see. Anyway, go check them out. My Door and Windows for all your window and door needs. I got them in my house. My ice cave is not freezing. It's nice and warm down here. And it's just me. It's weird that the sun is up right now. I know we sprung forward, but it always trips me out. And of course, Jackpot Joey. Did I miss anybody? Oh, T Properties for all your rental property management needs. Check them out. Like I said, I got the Gridiron Gang on tomorrow. They do a great job of draft guide and NFL player evaluation. So we will be talking to those two tomorrow. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. And, hey, make sure you hit the live, hit the subscription, hit the thumbs up, share this out, because subscribe to the show, because you never know when I'm going to go live. Like last night, I went live at about 11 o'clock, I think is when I went live. Me and Corey Dillon jumped off. If you missed any of that, go check that out. Go check out yesterday's show with Richmond Webb. We got some cool stuff going on here. This is the fun time of the season, but it's also the stressful time of the season because sometimes I got to kind of just watch what I read on Twitter because people freak out. Anyway, other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Ready? Throw it up. That's your sports, baby. See ya!